Jaguar Wright just spoke out about 50 Cent's viral Diddy documentary, and what she's saying about 50 Cent in Netflix is insane. According to Jaguar Wright, what 50 Cent showed you is only a fraction of the truth. Tapes, testimonies, and real crimes involving not just Diddy, but the entire industry were purposefully left out because Netflix wasn't willing to go that far.
Problem with it, it was done too well. It left out too many things.
So can you speak on Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent said that this is the first one.
I'm sure.
That there's hundreds of hours of more footage.
I'm sure. There was hundreds of hours of shit that was confiscated from all of Diddy's homes in that HSI raid that never made it to the trial. I wonder where it made it to.
Jaguar Wright just gave an interview where she broke down everything that was removed from the documentary. After watching the documentary, Jaguar talked to Gene Deal, the only person who actually spent time with Diddy and whose opinion mattered. He was Diddy's former bodyguard. He saw the violence, the intimidation, the cover-ups, and the people who were protected along the way. So, when Jaguar realized Gene was missing from a documentary that claimed to be The Reckoning, she knew something was off. She talked to Gene, and that's when she realized the truth.
Would you call the documentary educational, informational, entertaining? What would you say this documentary?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
And it's sad because there's a lot of stuff in there that's true, but there's enough left out to create.
The timing of the release of the documentary and the way it only focused on old news seemed suspicious. It wasn't about exposing the truth, it was about distracting everyone. Jaguar says that's why the documentary leaned so heavily on old footage, recycled narratives, and incidents the industry had quietly acknowledged for years. It wasn't designed to expose hidden truths. It was designed to control the conversation.
The story isn't over, I agree. Like, that's the thing. The story's not even being told. Because in order to tell the actual whole story, you would have to include everyone that is involved. But no, this is about saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Okay, Diddy's going to jail. He's going to do his time. I don't know what that appeal is looking like right now. Because see, the one thing that all of this documentary shit is doing is definitely fucking up his possibility for an appeal to get out early. Especially with the judge and them and the appeal board having to look at the footage of him sitting there with Mark Agnifilo, pretty much working on how to fix the trial.
And for him to be watching the feds watching him.
Yeah, filming the feds. Watch.
Filming.
Diddy was the scapegoat. The industry needed someone to take the blame, and Diddy was the perfect person to pin it all on. Keep in mind that CNN had the footage of Diddy beating Cassie for well over a decade before they actually released it. Why did the FBI only start looking into it now after the statute of limitations had actually passed? The documentary didn't discuss any of this, and it never looked at the most important question of all. If Diddy was being investigated for RICO, where were his co-conspirators?
They did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it. Blame it all on Diddy. And the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip-hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip-hop, and all of hip-hop is uncomfortable with this. Meanwhile, you got people like Ja Rule who, on the low key, allegedly, Gene Deal has exposed for having his own nude tryst freak-offs with Diddy.
In that courtroom.
Do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth in it.
The biggest selling point about this documentary was the unreleased footage, which 50 Cent somehow managed to get his hands on. But here's the thing. When this documentary was first announced, 50 didn't even have access to that footage. He couldn't have. How did 50 know what was going to happen to Diddy before it actually happened?
He announced he was going to be doing the documentary December 2023 with Netflix. And the star footage that you use to get people to re-upload or resubscribe to Netflix to make this the #1 in their TV shows division for almost 2 weeks straight, beating out Stranger Things. How much stranger is that?
I'm not Becky.
This footage didn't even exist when you said you were going to be doing this documentary. So we've got a videographer, a rogue videographer that has this very, very, very explosive, very explosive footage of him literally sitting on camera, planning how to go after survivors, how to poison the jury pool, how to fix his trial in advance before he's even arrested. I mean, like, is anybody not forgetting when Mark Agnifilo was sitting there talking to the sons in the hallway, and they're sitting there filming, and he's sitting up there, yeah, well, see, what we got to do is we got to go and we got to put counter suits on all of these people. We have to create lawsuits ourselves. He's sitting there talking about creating lawsuits to affect public perception.
Gandil actually refused to be part of this documentary after he realized that 50 wasn't allowed to make any decisions. He's the one who had all the actual proof. According to Gene himself, he sat down and spoke with 50 Cent for 45 minutes. What he realized was that 50 wasn't in control of what footage made the final cut, who was paid, or which stories could legally be included. Those decisions were being made at the Netflix and production level. Once Gene understood that, he walked away.
He was going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story, and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound. I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about, you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I'm like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, you know, one thing led to another, and I was like, yeah, all right, well then, you know, F you, you know, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and goes out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay, he determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if the 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I seen of myself. You know, some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're gonna get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot